Today we will continue with the analysis of Shakira's birth chart, so stay tuned for more information on what made her so unique, and in this particular part which stars affected her destiny as well. Well, forgive me if I'm trying to keep an order with Shakira's birth chart, but as you can see, she is a person who has the planets, almost all in conversation with each other in very close degrees. So this makes the person tremendously complicated and with a very, very intense life. Well, now let's analyze the personal planets in Shakira's chart. The first thing we are going to look at is that moon that is at 25 degrees of Cancer. That is her domicile, where the moon is very comfortable, and in the fourth house, which is her house of joy, that is the moon's own house. What does it mean that she has the moon there so beautifully? Because that is a beautiful moon at that point. Well, that the family is very important, that the parents were loving, that they loved her, that the mother spoiled her, tucked her in, nurtured her, sheltered her, that she loves her homeland, her land, that it is tremendously important to her, and so on. But if we look, this moon is in opposition to Mars and Mercury in the 10th house. Well, Shakira must have been a very capricious child, and she must also have very strong emotional explosions. That is, when she explodes, run, because it must be absolute gunpowder. Because also, if we look, that Mars is there in Capricorn, exalted, and that Mars is very important in Shakira's chart. But well, let's not get distracted now with the Mars. Let's continue with the analysis of the moon. We also see that this moon has a sextile with Jupiter. What does this mean? Well, it means that the homeland is very important, obviously, and she was going to do all her work towards her own, towards her land. But it also means that she is a tremendously generous person. She has Jupiter in the second house. In Taurus is the nocturnal exaltation of Jupiter, so it is a Jupiter that was going to bring her great economic benefits, but which curiously she destines to children, to that moon that also represents the children of her land. And we can see in this feature the great humanitarian help that she has done. Now, let us look at that Mars dot. That Mars is very important, and Mercury is in conjunction in her 10th house because it is talking about her profession. Let us not forget that she is a dancer and that Mars is exalted. Okay, it is in a position to the moon. Well, I believe that the effect that the moon has on Mars and Mercury is precisely to enhance it, to enhance her capacity to dance. And that Mercury is in Capricorn. For example, a Mercury in Capricorn can also be found in Taylor Swift's birth chart. So, what does a Mercury in Capricorn mean? That she had to educate her voice, while dance was something that was given to her spontaneously, innate in a spontaneous way. Fruit of an exalted Mars, this Mercury does mean that she had to work on her voice. Why? Because it is in Capricorn. Let's not forget that Capricorn is the sign of structures. And if that Mercury is there, it is talking about her expression, her capacity to sing and so on. In addition, let's look at other aspects that Mars has. And that Mars has a beautiful trine with Lilith in the second house, Lilith. That is, she lives of dance. And that Lilith with that Mars in a good relationship, in a good aspect, in a trine, because it gives her a certain magic in her dance, It gives her a seduction, a mystery, something that catches us precisely.
Hey, are you paying attention to me? Well, the moment you've been waiting for has arrived. Subscribe, like, and if you have any opinion or question, leave it in the comment.
Another link that this Mars has is a square with Chiron in house 1. Let's remember that this Mars is talking about her dance. But with Chiron square, he is telling us that it hurts her, and that it has hurt her many times, but a bestiality. So this has given her a certain mistreatment to the body through dance. And if we add to this that Mars has a beautiful sextile with Venus, which is more or less where I want to end this analysis for the time being. Of the planets in Shakira's chart, this Venus is in the 12th house, in a beautiful sextile with Mars, which means that when a person has Venus sextile Mars, she is a bit of a Juanesque Don, that is, a person who will have many relationships throughout life, love relationships, but who will also favor this trait in her creative side and will add an artistic and beautiful dose to what she already does with her dance and music. In addition, we see that Venus is in a very strong point, which is the 0 degree of Aries, the vernal point. This is a point that is when the sun has passed through the equator, from one hemisphere to the other, to the northern hemisphere. So in astrology, this is considered the 0 point, the 0 degree, where the astral year begins. And it's really where the year should start, because it's when a cycle closes, let's say, of the sun's trajectory. So, Shakira has Venus at this point, that is her art in a very high point, very strong energetically, in the 12th house, that every planet in the 12th house has a relationship with the collective unconscious. I mean, Shakira is connected to the collective unconscious, and that's why she expresses what many people want to hear. That's why we all look at her, because she is the version, let's say the song she released with Bizarrap, in which she has been so awarded and was so viral, in which she manifests all her part, almost that spiteful or with rage of the breakup with her partner. But it turns out that this song itself received a huge female support. That is, many women felt identified with what she was singing and what she was saying. Another thing that this Venus in the 12th house gives her is to be a bit of a martyr. That is, not a martyr of I give myself, but she has a part of herself to give to humanity with that Venus there. Her art belongs to humanity, and I believe that Shakira is very conscious of this obligation or this commitment that she has with the rest, with the whole. And she constantly does not force, does not repress absolutely nothing of what this Venus can express at a collective level. That is, she gives us a filmic representation of what we really want to see and hear. That's why we follow her, that's why we want to see her constantly, and we are fascinated by her capacity of expression and her capacity in dance, her capacity of composition and her musical capacity. Well, but we could think, well, there are many people who may have an astrological chart very similar to Shakira's, right? What makes her so unique, so important, so historically relevant, and so watched by the whole world? Well, in principle, there are those who are born with a star and those who are born starry, and let's say that Shakira was born with many stars. Maybe for me, I'm going to name maybe 4 that are very important in her chart, and that are going to tell us a lot about why she is the character that she is worldwide. The first one is Sirius. Sirius is in opposition to her mid-heaven, that is her profession, and is obviously in conjunction with the lower heaven, the family. Sirius is a very, very important star. I'm going to read you something about the star Sirius. In astrology, the star Sirius is one of the most important stars because of its brightness and prominence in the sky. It is the brightest star in the night sky and is located in the constellation Can Major. In astrological terms, it is associated with power, leadership, wisdom, spirituality, and transformation. In other words, this star gave Shakira to be a shining light, a world star, literally. The next star that seems very relevant to me is called Procyon, and it is in conjunction to its natal moon. That's why it seems important to me. In astrology, the star Procyon is considered a fixed star of the constellation Can Minor, the lesser dog, and has a particular influence. Procyon is associated with dynamism, energy, speed, impulsiveness. In traditional astrology, it is considered a benefic star, but it can also have ambivalent characteristics. This is because although it can bring success, ability to excel and prosper, it can also be the source of impetuous and excessive behavior at times. She also has in conjunction to her natal Mercury the star Deneb. This is also very important. It is a star in the constellation of the Swan and is very bright in the night sky, positive and beneficent. Deneb is considered a very lucky star in astrology, especially when it is in conjunction with personal planets. as in this case is Mercury, and they bring a great influence of success recognition and good results in personal endeavors. Let's not forget that she is a famous singer. In addition, she has in conjunction to Venus a star called Skeet. This star is in the constellation Pegasus, and it is said of it, Skeet can bestow a free spirit, an inventive mind, and literary or poetic abilities. Well, with this I close 4 stars that I considered very relevant, and that tells us why Shakira is unique. But I counted 17 stars in Shakira's birth chart, counting only the stars that are in conjunction or opposition. That is, I did not count the stars that made other types of aspects, because really with the fixed stars it is better the opposition or conjunction, which are where one guarantees that they are going to have an effect in the life of a person. And in Shakira's life it is very clear, it gave her a unique shine. She is an extraordinary human being. Well, so much for today's video. In the next video I'm going to make predictions to Shakira, what's coming. And remember to like and subscribe so I can keep uploading content.
Well, that's all for today. A big hug says goodbye to all of you, and until our next video. A big hug.